lot of things affect me. Now, for some reason, last night, it really, really did affect me. I walked into the chapel and my heart was racing. I felt very tight in my chest. I sat down on one of the chairs. I couldn't. It just made me feel sick. I felt yuck, and I just needed to go outside for a breather. Before I went outside to have a breather, I went out the back with our tour guide, because like the back of the chapel, just to see if that makes a difference. It didn't make a difference, so I went outside. So I could see the pool and the back of the pool, so basically near the farming area. There's a lot of sightings in the farming area, so I was surprised that I seen something. So I was just standing there taking a breather and, telling whatever entity is attached to me that it's not allowed and has no permission to be here and everything like that. And as soon as I looked over where the pool and the farming area is, there was this male staring at me and waving at me. I stood there and stared for a few moments, and then I looked away because I was about to go back inside the chapel, and I turned back and he was gone. No one should be out there.
No.
No one should be out there.
It was very interesting.
So I asked the tour guide, I told the tour guide and asked, and she's like, yeah, that happens sometimes. I'm like, okay. I'm like, righto. And that was just very interesting. Like, I obviously went back in the chapel. I still felt like crap, but, obviously I don't want to break up from the tour sort of thing.
Well, yeah, that would suck. That'd be fucking,
Yeah,
like, no, I gotta leave now.
But,
I gotta leave. We just started.
It's like, I didn't want to be out there just in case, because I'm out there by myself. And it's a big building, and there could be anyone in there. So
well, exactly. That's a worry too. Like, you don't know if like what you saw. Like, I know, you don't know if what you saw was like a spirit or there's a dude sneaking around. Like, you got to be careful. Like we said many times, be careful about places that you investigate. You don't know. You never know. Always be aware of your surroundings.
It's the same with being on tours. You're still got to be careful.
Yeah, because that is a big place. Like, I got a picture of the fire alarm map that you showed me, actually. I got a picture of that, so I will be posting that picture as well, so people can see the actual size of this place. It's massive.
Yes, it's huge.
Like, we spent 6 hours there, and we didn't cover the whole place.
There is more than what you see. There's a dining hall, and then you've got the kitchen, then you've got the cellar. There's a lot. A lot, but sometimes we don't have time to go to those places because there's other tours running.
Yeah, which is completely fine. Yeah, it was cool in the chapel because, like, our tour guide, she set up K2 meter on the pedestal, a couple cat balls down the center aisle because there was pews, normal church. Think of an old school church. Pews on either side, one pathway in the middle where the priest stands up at the top. She put a K2 on the pedestal, the ghost meter on another like railing, so she kept them away from each other, and then like 3 or 4 cat balls down the middle of the aisle, and she got all of us to sit on one side of the church because she said some of the spirits are known to making the pews actually rock and click and bang them. So she wanted us all to sit on one side and not touch the other side, so we can honestly say nobody was sitting there, nobody touched it or anything. So we all sat on the one side, and it's cool because it started going off. Like, the K2 was going off, the ghost meter was going off, the cat balls were going off. It was pretty interesting. Like, it was all crazy. And she said that she wasn't feeling good, and that's roughly around the same time you said you had to leave because you were getting overwhelmed. And the second you guys left,
I wasn't getting overwhelmed. I was just getting like my energy sucked out of me because I'm very in tune with spirits. That's why I say to people I don't do readings or anything like that. Also, just to put a note in, just so you know how big Aradale is, it sits on 665 acres with 65 heritage listed buildings.
65 buildings. Okay.
Yeah.
And I can assure you, most of those buildings are big because we got 6 hours running through them, and didn't like 65 buildings. People, come on, think about that for a minute.
Most of those buildings are like rented out to businesses, though,
Yeah,
which is kind of weird. I understand they need to make money, so
yeah. But yes, back to the chapel. She because she said she was feeling overwhelmed, and you said you had to leave with her. And then it all kind of stopped. Like all the lights turned, like the K2 stopped reacting, the ghost meters stopped, triggering, and all the cat balls just stopped working. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, it all stopped." And I was like, "Well, I came here to experience something." So I called her name. I'm like, "Hey, get back in here. If they don't like you, get back in here. I want to see some stuff." The second she put her head back in the door, the ghost meter by the door went off, the K2 triggered, and the cat balls went off again. And then me and one guy walked over and stood at the pedestal just to see if we can ask it questions and stuff like that. And we had the lights going off, it's like that. And then it's interesting because then they slowly just start fading away, like almost like they've had their fun and they're gone.
I wonder what would happen if someone actually brought a Bible in.
I don't know, because you
I'm
said that
curious.
brought a Bible in.
Well, I'm curious. I'm like, I know it's a chapel, and I know what someone told me about what someone said.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious if you brought in religious thing to a chapel because of how I'm the sort of person who pokes the bear, and I always
Yes.
want to I want to see what happens if someone brings a Bible, just because I know like the spirits don't like me or the tour guide in there very much. But I'm the sort of person who's like, I'm going to poke the fucking bear. Just let me poke the damn thing, and I want to see something happen. And 99% of the time, I'm the one who's always getting poked.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the whole thing. Like we want to prove something. We want, like, you're investigating. You need proof. That's the whole point of this. And that's what I kind of want to do. That's why I called her back in. I'm like, get back in here because we're not getting anything. We're not getting hits right now. Get back in here, because she said, "Oh, the spirits don't really like me." I'm like, get back in here. I want to see some stuff. I want to see stuff happen. You're obviously the trigger right now. Get in here, do it. So I can't say her name, but the tour guide told Lauren that somebody apparently said the Lord's Prayer in the church, in the chapel, and crazy stuff started happening. Apparently, it wasn't good. Now I don't know the whole details. We'll try to figure out the details. Yeah, wait, you might know the details.
I don't know very much, and I'm not going
Okay.
to say much either because it's not kind of my story to tell.
That's why I'm not telling the
all I
whole
got told.
thing. Apparently, somebody said the Lord's Prayer, and some things happened. Now I can't say anything because I don't know exactly what happened. All I know is that there was experiences.
Oh, I can't wait to go back on the 6-hour tour because I'm gonna poke bear like so hard. I just want something to happen. I want the chairs to move. I want something to be thrown at me. Okay, I'm just gonna poke the damn bear.
Exactly, and that's what I wanted to happen. And so, like, when he told me that, I'm like, what? It was a bit confusing because, like, why would the Lord's Prayer trigger such an angry response in a chapel? You think of all places, that would be the good thing.
In a sense, like, yes, Catholic. I'm Catholic myself, but I don't follow the religion. I'm baptized as Catholic. You gotta think, a lot of people don't like religion, but they go in the chapel because they have to go in the chapel.
Yep.
And they don't want to hear it. But also the priest doesn't like people in there. I don't know much the story behind the chapel, but if you ask the tour guide, I'm surely she would tell you the story.
You never know. We might get her to be able to do it on camera. We could use it, maybe. I don't know. We'll pitch that idea to her and see what she says.
She might do it.
She might do
we'll
it.
See.
Yeah. It might get her some more fans on TikTok. Maybe. Yeah.
So after that, I think we went to go off that?
Okay, so we went to
Oh, we went to the women's ward.
yes,
We
so
went to the
I kind
women's
of jumped
ward.
to chapel there. Went to the women's ward, and that's when we found out about the electroshock therapy room, which is interesting because where it would be done, it'd be facing a certain wall. In the wall, it was actually the Rocky Mountains because I recognized them because that's where I'm from, Canada. And it was the Rocky Mountains, so it was crazy because like she's like, yeah, they were given this nice picture to look at while they were getting electroshocked, and it's just okay. Doesn't make it better.
It's not a very nice room to go into. So that's why you see me just walk out, like, see you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the fact that I'm scared or anything. It's more the fact that I am very in tune with spirits. So when I go into like shock therapy rooms or a theater room or something crazy that happens,
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of spirits trying to come at me at once. So I have to remove myself away from that room just for a little while and then come back. I don't want to like interfere with people's experience because they're there to experience it. I've experienced it so many times. I like to let other people experience it before I go back in there and jump in and do an investigation. I let everyone else have a turn before me because I just find that fair.
Yeah, there you go. Well, exactly. You don't want to ruin it for anybody else, and that's good. That's a good way to look at it.
Well, people are there to experience things. I've been doing this for so many years. I've experienced a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So when people have their turns, I go and do my turn. I might be in there for like 5-10 minutes and leave again. But if someone's in that room, I'm just like, okay, well, I'll come back later. I'll go find something else to do.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I went down to the back of the rooms and found other areas in that weird, creepy ass bathroom with pretty little shower curtains they have. And I was thinking, like, why would they have shower curtains? Wouldn't they just hang themselves with that?
Exactly. That doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, so in these, you got to think it's an asylum. You can't give any inmates anything that they can harm themselves with. But for some reason, in the inmates or the patients, the women's ward bathroom in the showers, there is shower curtains, like easily able to tie in a knot. They're sturdy curtains too, because I pulled on them. I tested them a bit, and I was like, yeah, they're pretty. Like, why? Yeah, exactly. Why would they allow them to have that? Doesn't make any sense.
It's the same with like the curtain strings. I think that's why they closed down the asylum because it was deemed unsafe because of all the curtain strings. Also other reasons that I'm not going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Shower curtains. So in my mind, as a normal hospital, you would have doors instead of shower curtains.
Yeah.
But back in those days, I guess you didn't really have that kind of choice because you need to look at what the patients are doing.
As bad as it sounds, they probably shouldn't even have doors at all. Really,
well,
if you think about it, because I know people like privacy, but at the same time, if they have doors, they're harder to get through. Shower curtains are obviously not safe because of self-harm. Technically, I'm not just saying for the women, I'm saying for the men too. They probably shouldn't have any doors at all. But then again, it's not safe for the patients as well, being in a shower in a very vulnerable situation with other people around you. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
It's like their cells have doors on them. They're pretty sturdy doors. You ain't gonna get through them.
No way in hell. But they had the doors on the outside of the frame. So the doors didn't open into the cell, they opened out into the hallway. And that's a safety reason.
Oh, yeah. Like they had no choice.
Well, it's actually because it allows the staff. When a door's set up, that's why your door is actually your house door, is that actually opens up inside your house. So you can actually block your door from anybody trying to push it open. You can actually, it's easier to hold the door shut with your body leaning up against it than trying to hold the door shut, pulling on it. You got to think if there's a patient in there trying to bang the door open, the staff can just push up against the door. It's easier that way. It's actually a safety reason.
Do you see how small I am? I don't think I can push anyone at the fucking door.
You'd be surprised how easy it is to keep a door shut, even if a bigger person is actually trying to push the door open from the inside or from the outside in.
That's true. So I guess like for the women's one, it wasn't like too bad. It like had a little bit of activity here and there, but
yeah,
it was a little bit flat I'm just glad the grabby lady didn't come out and
I
grab
was
me
so
this
upset
time.
about that. Like the grabby lady is apparently a woman in there that would that grabs you like in all the places you can think of, and like your thigh, your unmentionables, everything. Apparently, she grabs you, and
Hmm.
again, it
And
was
she
a very.
comes over with you.
Is she what?
And she can come home with you too.
She can come home. So you get it. Okay, so you
Yeah,
get
she
like
follows people home, but as I say, like no spirits are allowed in my house without permission. Spirits aren't allowed to be near me without permission because they have no rights here. This is my home.
well, there you go. So like yeah, so there's a grabby lady who likes to grab people inappropriately. Yeah, so when I heard about that, I right away I wanted it to happen. I was like standing there in different areas. I'm like, when's it gonna
That,
happen? Is it gonna happen?
that's the thing. You want it to happen, and it doesn't happen. When you don't want it to happen, you don't expect it to happen. It will happen.
Still, when do you not want that to happen? You hear there's a
You
grabby ghost, and you're like, oh, I don't want that to happen. Well, who says they don't want that to happen? You want to have an
don't
experience.
think that's the problem with people. Everyone thinks things are gonna happen. They don't happen.
I
When you
know, I
don't
know.
think about it, it happens.
I know, like it's not guaranteed to happen every time. That's why I was like, oh, it didn't happen. That sucks. Not like, oh, it didn't happen. It's not real. It's like, oh, well, maybe next time. I'll see. Maybe. You never know.
You'll see.
Gotta have an open mind.
So I think after women's what? Where are we going after that?
We I think that's when we went to
The
the staff.
so yeah, we went to staff, and then we went to after staff. We went to the morgue. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, we went
Yes.
to the morgue.
Yeah, because we did the morgue and then we did the male section.
Yes.
Yes.
So we went to the morgue. Basically, got a couple of hits in there. They laid on the damn fucking
Okay.
table.
So the morgue.
The freezer table.
Okay, so the morgue, we got to check this out. It was pretty cool. And we got to go into the morgue. Now she even said, our tour guide was like, yeah, I can almost guarantee you're not going to get a lot of hits in here, if any. And I said, why? She's like, it's the morgue. By the time they bring the bodies here, they're long dead. So they're probably going to be someplace else. I'm like, that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. She's like, they're not going to hang around the place where their body goes to. So the morgue, we actually got to lay in the bed, in the morgue bed. And then like they usually let people go into the freezer and close the door. But they couldn't.
But because of
COVID, we couldn't do it. But I got pictures of me laying in it. I got pictures of Amanda laying in it. It's pretty cool. Got to experience that.
I didn't lay in it just because I had to take so much equipment off. I'm like, oh,
exactly. Yeah, she's still carrying all the equipment.
Yeah, I'm the pack horse. I have all the equipment.
I carried some of it.
You carried a box.
The heavy box.
It was carried the box.
Yeah, the heavy box. It was the heavy box. But actually, a fun fact, I didn't know about this. This was cool. So a peppercorn tree. Apparently, back in the day, this is before freezers were a thing for dead bodies. It was mandatory by law to have a peppercorn tree next to a morgue because apparently morgues, because no freezer, no fridge, smell because of decomposition. The peppercorn tree apparently masks the smell, and all you can smell around the area is actually peppercorn. Apparently, the smell off the tree, or I don't know if it absorbs the smell or just the smell off the tree is so overpowering, it hides the smell of decomposing bodies. But another thing, she also said, if you see a peppercorn tree and you see how big it is, especially that one specifically, she's like, because they didn't have proper disposal when it came to bodily fluids and organs and whatnot, mostly the fluids, is that they would take buckets of it out of the morgue and dump it on the base of the tree. So the tree is actually it's literally a bloody tree. They would dump all the body fluids onto this tree and giving it nutrients. So the tree is actually huge for how old it is. Because of all the fluids.
They used to tie body parts on it.
Yes, so that's another thing too. This is another thing that this place was known for doing. This is wrong what they've done. There was an inspector one time when they finally got an inspector to come and check out the place. It was coming down the hill from the main building. It's down the hill to where the morgue is. When the guy was coming down the hill to inspect the morgue, he looks up and he sees body parts hanging from the tree, legs, arms, torsos. They would put heads on spikes around the peppercorn tree, not in any ritual thing or satanic thing. It was, they were experimenting on the bodies to see how bodies decompose out in the sun, in the weather, that kind of thing. They were experimenting to see what would happen, and hanging up on the trees, putting them on the ground, stuff like that. And this person, imagine that, coming down the hill, you're just doing your job, it's your everyday thing, boom, body parts everywhere, just hanging from this tree. That's how messed up this place was, is that they would do this to dead people, just chop them up and play with their bodies.
Well, but that's the thing, you gotta see how things work. That's why they tell them, that's why you do like mortuary science. You become a person who works in the morgue. You do science on a dead body, you gotta find out what's gonna happen and what goes wrong. You're gonna do like an autopsy and stuff like
What
that.
are they going to do? How did they explain that to the medical world? Oh yeah, we found out that the torso does this when you when it's suspended in the air. They're gonna be like, how'd you figure that out? Don't worry about it.
But they're experimenting. That's the thing. That's like, okay, so you're in a mental asylum. Who's gonna come back for their relatives?
It's not so much coming back to the relatives. I don't think they were doing it for medical purposes. I think they were just being sadistic pricks.
That too. But also, like, in their medical field, they didn't really know much back then, because there's so many different, like, diseases or...
Well, a lot of the stuff we actually learned about bodies were from gravediggers.
Oh, yeah. See,
or grave robbers, not grave diggers, sorry, grave robbers. This fun little fact: back in the day, old medical schools and would pay people to go and exhume freshly buried bodies so they could bring them back and experiment and do autopsy to them to learn about organs and whatnot. And people would a lot of people didn't know about that aspect of it. They would just see people stealing bodies and, oh, you're a grave robber, you're just stealing their watch and their jewelry and stuff. No, they're doing it for like medical schools, and that's a fact. You can look this up.
You can donate your body to science, right?
Yep, I know. I'm not gonna do it.
Why?
Just don't want to.
I've already decided that I'm donating my body to science, because look, I want, like, this, like, obviously I have some medical history problems, and I know a lot of people are like, why would you want to donate your body to science? Well, for my reasons, because I'm just interested in what they're going to, like, okay, let's be 100% honest. I'm gonna be dead as a dead fucking tree, okay? I'm not coming back. What is, like, my body is either gonna go on the ground and rot, or it's going to come up in flames and I'm gonna be ashes. So I'd rather somebody do some sort of fucking experiment on me while I'm dead. Okay? That's just how I see it. Donate my body to science. Here's
a little fun fact. There have been many times people have donated their body to science, to medical journals, to not experiment on, but autopsies, and learn things about it. There's been many times that these medical places have actually sold the dead bodies to the military to test C4 on them for explosions.
Boom.
Like, I'm not joking. One guy actually, his mother donated her body to science, and then he found out, like, it was a couple of years later, that they actually blew her body up testing different C4s, and they ended up suing them. I believe they won. You can check this out. I'll try to see if I can find the link about it, and put it in the description.
I was more thinking of donating my body to, like, crime science people, more like crime scene sort of things.
Oh, to test different things like that.
That's what I want to donate my body to, is like people who do like crime scene stuff and want to see like how people, like, obviously I've seen a lot of documentaries on this, of how people donate their bodies to crime lab people, to see how, like, bodies work when they've been murdered and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I want to donate. I know that sounds weird of me saying I want to donate my body for that when I die, but that's what I want to help more people. That's what I want to do, because if they can figure out, different ways of like different crime scenes with the body, and how things work when a murder happens or when something bad happens. I want to be that person that helps, sort of thing.
Then we went and checked out the men's
Infectious disease ward, because we had a 30-minute break, and then we went over to the infectious disease ward, and that's where the tour guide showed us a photo of an interview that she took a photo of, where she went down there many years ago.
So apparently it was her first tour or whatever, and she went down the hallway. The whole thing was you go down the hallway, you touch the wall, the door at the end of the hallway, and you walk all the way back. And she was using her flash on her camera and her torch to light the way, and she took a picture, and it was the last picture on her phone before the flash died, of this man entity thing standing at the end of the hallway. So yeah, there's that, and it looked pretty cool. We got to do we got to investigate that building. The operating room area was very interesting because this is before anesthetic and whatnot. There's multiple ways that they could make you fall asleep, so to speak. So they had 2 rooms, and each room had like a peephole that the person inside could watch out of. So they would take one person, take him out. Now there's multiple ways that would make you pass out. They would either hit you on the head until you blacked out, choke you until you blacked out, or just operate on you. Now just operate on you.
Or they would watch
yes,
what happened.
Exactly. So if they couldn't choke you out, knock you out, they would just be like, screw it, we're gonna operate on him, and they would just operate on you. Now the peepholes for the guy who wasn't brought out first, he'd be watching the man get operated on while screaming, and they would hope that by him watching that, he would then pass out. And when that happened, they would continue the operation and finish him, get him out of there. And then while that guy is passed out, they would then bring him out and start operating on him. Now, if you woke up in the middle of the operation, they would then club you until you blacked out again or choked you out. That happened all the time.
Also, another thing is they would use salt.
Oh yeah, that one was horrible. Now let's say it was called the salt box. Now the salt box was when you're laying down on your back, there'd be this little box above your eye with a little hole in it and a little like latch thing to open up the hole. Let's say you're getting amputated with no painkillers, no nothing at all. You're going to be in extreme amounts of pain. None at all. So they're literally chopping your leg off with no painkillers, no anesthetic at all. So if you're screaming too much, you're feeling too much pain, they would open up the lever, allow a bunch of salt to fall into your eye, and you would be in excruciating pain up here to the point that you don't feel your leg anymore. That was their logic. That is insane. You could go blind by having salt put in your eyes. Not only are you going to be like missing a leg or an arm, you're going to be blind as well. That is fucking insane.
Like, so you guys got to investigate that because I walked out of the room. So my reason for walking out of the room is that I had a very intense experience many years ago that just makes me feel very uncomfortable in the room. So I've been seeing spirits since the age of 5, and I'm very in tune with spirits and stuff like this. So one particular night when I was doing an investigation there, and I was by myself, so you could imagine. I was standing in the room, and I started, like, when I start getting in tune to spirits and that, I start rocking back and forth. So I sit on the ground just so I don't fall on my ass. And I was just rocking back and forth, and then I just started focusing, and then all of a sudden I kind of went to some sort of trance. And a spirit, then I let a spirit, like, use me as a, what do they call them?
Like a conduit?
Yeah. And they would show me everything. And I mean, from to the point of having an operation, to the point of horrible things happening, to the point of them screaming and crying and begging and pleading. And when I came out of it, I had to walk out the building because I felt physically sick and very overwhelmed, and I was just so drained. So now every time I go to the infirmary, I leave as well because I don't want to have that experience again. It's not a very nice feeling, and it's horrible. And a lot of people say to me, well, you're supposed to be a paranormal investigator. Why walk out of a room when you have when you can experience something? I don't want to experience that again. That is absolutely terrifying.
And that's completely fair. Like, why not? Like, why would you not? Like, exactly. Like, why would you want to have to do that over and over and over again? That would suck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people just don't understand. Sometimes
So
shit's
you
just overwhelming.
guys, so you guys investigated that. How did that go?
Again, it was all right. We put like the little Ovilus up, cat balls, ghost meter. Ghost meter got hits, asked questions, did the 1-2 thing. Like I said, it wasn't a big activity night. There was some, some hits here and there with the ghost box, but nothing major. So we did have some activity, I guess, some hits, but nothing that I would say would be, not enough evidence to say anything. I can't say yes.
So after we went to the infirmary, we went to the men's ward.
Yeah. So we got to learn about the men's ward. Got to check out their fucking Jesus. This is insane. So their electroshock therapy area was made to do multiple men at a time, and they would like move down the rows of men. Now on the floor, this is actually kind of sad. On the floor, they have like old linoleum floors and stuff like that. And where the bed frame was, the feet of the bed, there's impact marks from the bed being when they get electroshock, because they're strapped to the bed, they're strapped laying down, they're strapped to the bed, and they're going to such intense seizures and body shakes that the bed would be banging on the ground, and the imprint of the foot of the bed is actually embedded into the ground. I do have pictures of that, and I will be showing that on my Instagram if you want to go check that out. But oh yeah, just seeing that was just horrible.
The thing is, the only thing they had was a pretty view. That was it. No nothing like that. All they had was windows and a
Yeah.
view. That was it.
And you gotta think, when you get electroshocked, it is fucking insane. Like apparently your brain literally shuts down, and they just kind of dump you into a chair and let you look out a window. That's it. If you can sit up.
It's like the tour guide said. I hate to be the last person.
Yeah, because like you got to think, they have beds upon beds of men. Like I think it was like 20 or 30 beds could fit in this room. Men strapped to beds, and you got to think that while they're doing it, it's not quiet. They're screaming while convulsing, and you got to think, if you're the first guy to getting done, that's one thing. Your brain's gonna shut down. You're gonna be out of it. They're gonna take you away. If you're the last guy, you have to watch 20 plus people before you screaming for their lives, being electrocuted. That is insane. And they would just do this on the daily, because if there's somebody these hospitals, if somebody was acting up too much, boom, electroshock. We'll shut that motherfucker down for a day or two. Like, that's just how they treated people. It wasn't, they called it therapy because they would take somebody who was aggressive, or just, you couldn't, some people with mental health issues just can't control themselves, which is understandable, and there's reasons for that, we know now. But back then they were like, oh no, we know the therapy that will calm them down. It shuts them down. Boom, shut down for a couple days. And they might learn, okay, I can't, maybe I'll stay calm for a little bit, but obviously they get worked up, they get aggressive again, then bam, it happened all the time. They called it therapy.
Not therapy.
No, it's torture. It was literally torture. They tortured people into calming down forcefully.
Mm-hmm. So the next thing that we went on to was the suicide cage.
Yes. So it was a bridge going from building to building. And there's literally a cage that they had to build around this bridge, because it wasn't there originally, this cage, because too many patients, not inmates, patients would literally throw themselves, and it was a fair distance. We were on the top floor, the top of the main building over there. I think it was 40, 50 feet. I could be dead wrong, but it seemed like that to me. It was really high up. It was far enough that if you dove, you die. So they had to put cage over there to stop patients from doing that. A lot of patients, and even some staff have done it.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, we went down the stairs to the governor's area.
What's interesting about the stairs that we went down is that those stairs, every single patient that ever came to Aradale went up those stairs. That was the front doors. They would bring the patient in, they would evaluate them very quickly, and then boom, up the stairs to the rest of their lives. Those stairs are I have pictures of those stairs too. If anybody wants to see them, they'll be on my Instagram. But yes, it was very interesting to see that, to know that thousands of people went up those stairs to see the end of their lives end in this building. And it's sad. It's really sad.
When we go on the 4-hour tour, I think they will tell you about what happened to the governor that was there. I don't think they say too much on a 6-hour tour because
No, they didn't.
Get through
She didn't mention anything about the governor or the head of the hospital.
Because we basically went, had a look in there and then went straight down to the was it the second floor of the women's? Yeah, second floor of the women's.
Yeah, the second floor of the women's was actually so there's doors in the men's and the women's.
Yep.
I'm just gonna cram these together because it's the exact same story pretty much. So there's 2 doors, one in the men's, one in the women's, that have nail marks. Now the women's is actually more intense, I think, even though the men's was made by the shackles that they would, so this room was essentially the room for the most violent person. They would literally shackle them and just toss them in this room and let them just go crazy on their own. And on this door, there's shackle marks where he's beaten his hands against the door. And apparently, if he had a black light, I really wish I had known about the black light before we went. I would have brought one. If you put the black light,
I'm not sure if it was a he or a she who did it.
Well, apparently it was the men's section. That was apparently the men's, where they put the males. The women's, or no, maybe that was that was the unisex one. I think they put whoever was being very violent, because there was two cells, and one was just where they put the most violent patient at the time. So yes, that was either or.
And then basically, like, we were basically that pretty much in the women's ward. We just did a little investigation for like half an hour, and it was pretty much like over. That was it.
So the door, what apparently he or she would bash their hands against the door so much that the shackles around their wrist would cause them to bleed, possibly bleed out sometimes. And the door, wish I had my black light. Apparently the door reacts when you put the black, because blood and different bodily fluids glow under black light, and apparently the door lights up like a Christmas tree. And I really want to go back just to see. Yeah, apparently I want to go back just to see that bit now. In the women's section, now this is actually just the women's section. One of the doors in one of the cells actually has fingernail marks, like somebody was digging at the door to try to get out, which is very, very sad, because these doors are hardwood doors. Like, I mean, the hardest wood. They're heavy as shit. They take damage. They barely take any damage when you hit them. For somebody's nails to dig in them, you had to have ripped your nails off. Like, to see that, to know that somebody had to be at that point in their brain to do that type of damage to themselves just to damage the door is insane.
It was nuts. Like, being in that cell all day.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely insane.
The cell was tiny. It was, I think it was like 3 meters long, like so deep from door to the window, through about 3 meters, and I think 2 meters wide. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And after that, we just packed up, and it was time to go home. That was the end of the tour.
Yeah, like I said before, we had some hits with the ghost meter, but nothing too like wow out there, except for that small room with me, Amanda, and the other guy with the coldness and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. And you guys screaming and us not hearing, which is, I think, weird, super weird that we didn't hear that.
Very weird.
Like, if somebody was screaming, I'd be like, oh, we need to go, something's happening. But I didn't hear anything. Amanda didn't hear anything. The other guy didn't hear anything. So it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Very interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so there is a potential nether trip in April. I'm not sure about that one because that one's very, very close. We don't know what might happen because of COVID and whatnot, but we are doing a paranormal investigation in August in the Maxim Security Mental Part Institution.
It's well, basically, it's just called J Ward, which is another mentally insane.
Wasn't it for the criminally insane?
It was for the criminally insane, yeah.
Yes. So yes, that one's going to be good, I think.
So,
and we get to sleep over.
Yeah, we do get to sleep over. So with the possibly might be April one, we're gonna do the 4-hour tour just so we can get some more
History
info about the property and history, of course, and it'd be interesting to know more about Aradale.
Yeah, because I'd like to talk about it more. I might do a on my other channel because I have a separate YouTube channel to this one. I might do a few episodes on Aradale and maybe spill the beans a little bit on more information about the place.
Yeah, you can do that.
I want to do that because I think I think more people should know about it because I think that's something that we should all know about so it doesn't get repeated. I know it won't get repeated, but I think it's more justice for the people that bet for what happened to them.
Well, pretty much, yes, but I can't really say much.
Yeah, she's not going to say that much. She's not going to ruffle any feathers or anything like that. That's why I'm doing it on my channel. So if you want to go there, go to Linktree in the description and go follow my other YouTube or don't just watch the videos. It doesn't matter. Just go there, check them out. Would very much appreciate it. But yeah. So this is near the end of this episode.
Yeah, pretty intense episodes.
It was.
Like talking about our experiences and the history, a little bit of the history, not a lot of it, and going off track a little bit, but that's what we do.
It happens. If you stay on track too much, it's too clinical. It seems too fake. You got to go off on tangents and talk about random things. Makes it more fun.
It does. So I guess we will wrap this up for now. And
yes, come check out our TikToks that we do live on Friday night, Eastern or Australian Eastern Standard Time. So just Google what that is in your time zone, and hopefully we will see everybody there. And stay tuned.
That?
9 o'clock. Didn't I say 9? Did I say? I thought I said 9. No, I didn't say 9.
No, you did not.
So 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. Yes, Google what time that is in your zone. Stay tuned to this channel. There's definitely going to be more coming. I'm going to be doing I might do some Randonautica stuff. Actually, I have the app. I really want to go do some random stuff and go record that. So I'll be posting some of that stuff here as well. But yeah. Alrighty. So thank you everybody for listening in, and stay tuned for more We All See Things podcast and other videos coming your way.
And we'll link everything down in our description.
Yes.
If you have any questions, please make sure you comment them in our comment section, and we will try and answer them the best we can.
Yes. Thank you very much, everybody. You have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world right now, and we will talk to you later.
Thank you, guys.
See you later, Lauren.
See ya.